Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Track's a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Track's a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Track's a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Track's a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this evening from the beautiful Kentucky Speedway. As the Premium Stock Car Racing League ready to rumble here for race number 9 on the season. Race number 9 is upon us, and all these drivers are going to be looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane, as they'll be looking just to have a good run. Solid performance, solid drive here tonight, trying to earn as many stage points and potentially as many points as possible here with a solid top 10, top 5, maybe even working yourself up and into a win, as that's what everyone is going to be looking to do. But this is going to be more or less a longer run here this evening. You're going to see a lot of green flag racing. You're going to see a lot of laps, and that's going to bring in the potential of green flag pit stops, and that's where a lot of issues can arise. So you got to be very, very careful with that. You got to make sure you keep yourself out of trouble, as we'll get ready to quickly jump into our opening. Let's go to our opening, I think we got some time here for our national anthem here this evening. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here to Landon Burbage for our national anthem here this evening.
Hey.
Alrighty, shout out there to Landon Burbage, the driver of the number 2 Chevrolet, coming in with the national anthem here this evening. Now we're going to go to our main man, Mr. Lonnie Crider, for our opening command here this evening. He will give us the command to fire engines and get tonight's racing action underway.
Hey, thank you very much. Just about time for kickoff time. Kickoff time? What are we talking about? We're not playing football. We're going racing tonight. Hey, I'd like to wish Jordan a happy birthday. Good luck tonight, Jordan Racing. Good luck to everybody tonight racing. Once again, thank all the sponsors. Hey, guys, start those engines. God bless America, and let's go racing.
Alrighty, shout out there to Mr. Crider coming in with the opening command here this evening as drivers down on pit lane. They are ready to rumble. They are ready to duke it out here this evening as we'll get ready to set them loose for 167 laps of racing action. Evan Monaghan coming in with that like on the stream. How are you, Evan? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful Saturday. Sean Wilder says, let's go. He says, let's go, Sean. Let's get it, man. Let's get after it here this evening with some great racing action here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, as each and every one of these drivers is going to be looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane here this evening. As starting on the pole in the Fireball number 27 machine, that is Nathan Brookover. To his outside in the Freedom number 64 machine, that is Scott Healy starting there in second. Starting in that third position, the High Velocity Racing ride, that is the 99 of Sean Wilder. Starting back in fourth is the Charlie Kirk, the Turning Point USA number 6 ride. In that fourth position is Brian Underwood there in the fourth position. Back in position number 5 in the Sunkursk 75 ride, that is Michael Ware. Back behind him, last week's winner in the 54 ride, that is Caleb Hunt. Hunt will start in the 6th position. Starting back in position number 7 in the 17 ride, that is Will Moore in the Fastenal machine. To his outside in the Rubber Duck Productions number 5 ride, that is Josh Crider. Starting back in position number 9 line in the 36 machine. That is George Jewell. To his outside, the 1 ride. Rounding out our top 10 is Dustin Sleitler. Sleitler will start back there in 10th with the number, I believe it is the 11 of Kevin Calkins back in the 11th position. To his outside, the 16, it's Keith Ayers. Farrell Robbins, Brandon Holder, Ben Gleason, T.G. Reese, Jordan Crider, the birthday boy back there in the 33 ride. And then we see Chris Getz, Jonathan Gaston, and Melvin Brengruer rounding out our field here this evening as the KFC machine will start back in that 20th position here this evening. As here we go as we end all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly green flag racing here this evening with the Premium NASCAR Racing League. Is the 27 of Brookover with that pole position. He's looking to try to keep all these drivers back there at bay as they head down and out of quarter number 2. Look out! A couple drivers scrape the outside fence. A couple of drivers make a little bit of contact there with that wall. You got to be very, very conscious of that. A little bit of contact, a little too far to the high side of the racetrack. It could end your night. It could put you back behind pit wall with terminal damage in a quick hurry. So you gotta mind your P's and Q's as these restarts are going to play havoc here throughout the evening. We already see these guys 2-3 wide out there on the speedway. Everyone trying to find their way towards the front. This is where you can really make up a lot of time, a lot of ground, gain a bunch of positions, but at the same point in time, you make a mistake, you roll out of the throttle, you get a little loose, or you make some contact with somebody, it could send you backwards in a quick hurry. As Kevin Calkins trying to work his way inside the top 10 here on the speedway. We already see George Jewell already making some big moves as the Extreme 36 ride up 4 positions here early on. Him and that 1 rider Dustin Sleitler both working their way towards the front of the field as here comes George Jewell down low looking to make a move underneath that number 1 ride as they're just outside our top 5 looking in. Will Moore back in 9th, and then you do see that 75 ride. Michael Ware trying to hang on to it here. Back 5 positions now, unfortunately, just outside the top 5 here on the speedway. You look even farther back at a driver like Jonathan Gaston. Gaston back here as well. Had to start at the rear of the field in that Dodd County number 72 machine. The Doddridge County number 72 ride back there. So unfortunately for him, he's at the back of the pack looking to try to make up some ground. He'll slowly but surely try to navigate his way up towards the front as he's got that No Luck Motorsports 87 rider Chris Getz right there in front of him, and the birthday boy Jordan Crider there as well back in the 18th position. But the racing up at the front of the field is picking up as here we go, move for the front, and it's Scott Healy who's gonna take the top spot away from Nathan Brookover. So Brookover able to lead the first 3 or 4 laps of this race. Now falls back into position number 2 with Scott Healy in the Freedom Chevrolet. Now out in front, leading this race is 5 laps completed. Still a lot of racing, still a lot of laps left to go here this evening. A lot of time to make mistakes, a lot of times to, gain positions, use that strategy, try to work yourself towards the front. But look out now, we see the 1 ride hard contact for Dustin Sleitler. Sleitler, heavy contact into that quarter 2 fence. Let's play this back and take another look at it as he got into this wall very heavily, man. This is a tough break here for that 1 machine right there. Bam, bounces off the fence. Look at him trying to catch it, trying to keep it pointing in the right direction. Does lose a few positions, and now we will see the caution flag fly. So I'm not sure if this was something else out there. I do believe, right there in front of him. Looks like Sean Wilder gonna get looped around here. Looks like George Jewell right on his back bumper here. Jewell's gonna get into this 99 ride, and unfortunately for Sean Wilder, he's getting a big shove, and then kind of moves up the track a little bit right there. George Jewell trying to keep his line and just ends up, unfortunately, more into that left rear quarter panel. Just hooks this 99 ride, which will take Sean Wilder around, and that will put us under our first caution flag right there. There's the contact. There he goes around. Unfortunate break for him, and then looks like everyone able to get up the track and avoid running into him. No additional contact or damage there for anybody. Luckily enough for Sean, really no major contact to an inside fence or anything else. So Not a lot of harm there, not a lot of carnage, so that was good news for pretty much everybody. So, as Anna Alessandro coming in, showing the love, says, "What's up, Peacemaker?" Mrs. Jewel says, "Good evening, all. Let's go, Jewel." Cheered on that 36 ride out there on the Speedway. So, now we get into our first caution flag. It's very early into this race. The next time by the start-finish line, they will complete lap number 8 out there on the racetrack. So 8 laps into this race, and for these drivers, unless if you've gotten damage, if you've made contact with the fence or anything else, I don't really see the huge benefit to coming down pit road this early, but we're going to see a lot of drivers. Except for our race leader. Looks like Scott Healy's going to stay out. Kevin Calkins will also stay out here. As Brookover, Underwood, Caleb Hunt, Josh Crider, George Jewell going to come down pit road. Everyone's heading down pit side here. So everyone, looks like Jonathan Gaston, he's going to take the track position. He's going to stay out as well. So 3 drivers out of 20 come stay out on the racetrack here. All 17 other come down pit road, and they're going to make some quick pit stops. So I'm not sure if it just looks like probably fuel only here, just trying to get that lag up with some fuel here for all these cars, and that's exactly what it is. So already trying to play a little bit of that strategy game, giving up maybe a little track position, getting fuel, no tires going on to these cars for the most part, and that'll get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to go back to green flag racing in just a little bit. Good piece of pit work there by Brian Underwood. He'll jump out into the 4th position for this restart, but leading the way, it is Scott Healy. Healy has the point. He's our race leader, and he'll get ready to try to keep all these cats back there at bay. Obviously, now going to be behind the 8 ball a little bit here. 8 laps less of fuel, which could make things very, very tight for that 64 ride. Kevin Calkins back there in the 2nd position with Jonathan Gaston there in 3rd. Underwood, first car out of the pits, will start in the 4th spot with Brookover, our pole sitter, there in 5th. Last week's winner, the 54 of Caleb Hunt, back into the 6th position with Josh Crider, Will Moore, Brandon Holder, and George Jewell now rounding out our top 10 as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here in just another lap or so. So the action is just starting to get fired up. Things are just starting to get crazy. And with that being said, we're going to have green flag pit stops on the horizon here, potentially for some of these drivers, as stages are going to be at the completion of lap number 40 and the completion of lap number 80. So you really got to run from this point on, almost a 30-lap run to end this stage. Now, fuel could have been an issue. It could have been very, very tight. I'm not sure if these drivers can make it the full 40 laps without having to make a pit stop. So when you look at the 3 drivers out in front, what are they giving up, and how are they going to use that to their benefit later in this stage? If they have to make a green flag pit stop, that could put them a lap down. It could put them back behind the rest of the field in a quick hurry. But if they can make it to the end, maybe, just maybe, then the track position will pay that dividend. But we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, 17 other drivers thought, you know what, it's better to get the fuel now, have that extra little bit of security, have that extra little bit of fuel in the car, and not having to worry about saving fuel, not having to worry about taking it easy here for this next 30-lap run or so. Is down out of corner number 4. The pace car will make that hard left-hand turn back down pit side on a very foggy day here at Kentucky Speedway, as down through that Geico restart zone. Here we go, back to battle at Kentucky as Scott Healy gets a great restart. Gonna bring that inside lane right on with him, as there is Jonathan Gaston. Gaston will slide up and take position number 2 away from Kevin Calkins. And now here comes all of the other drivers. Everyone that came down pit road, they got fuel. Not a lot of tires going on, at least not that we saw, and if there were, they'd be a little deeper in the field, trying to take advantage of that. As you see the 99 ride of Sean Wilder, he was the car that just went around to help bring out that caution flag. That one ride of Dustin Sleitler. Sleitler got up and into the outside fence, ended up with some pretty solid damage on that car. Looks like he's gotten that repaired. He's looking to try to navigate his way back up towards the top 10 out there on the Speedway. As Keith Ayers down low looking to make some moves here, as we see the 76 Oh, baby, looked like Farrell Robbins may have gotten up into the outside fence right there, potentially following right in the tire tracks of that 17 of Will Moore, as Moore may have gotten a piece of it as well. So we'll have to keep a close eye on both of those cars as damage may affect their drive here in stage number 1. Is out in front, though, it is Scott Healy. Healy continues to lead this race as Gaston rolls in position number 2. And now you see a couple drivers working all over his back bumper. That is that 27 of Brooke over our pole sitter trying to work his way back to the point. The turning point, USA, the Charlie Kirk Memorial ride there. O'Brien Underwood. Underwood's right there. He's now working to the outside here of Gaston, hoping to try to jump up into that second spot on the Speedway. He's got Caleb Hunt and that number 5 ride of Josh Crider right there behind him, as it looks like that middle to outside lane really starting to show some good speed, but you do see Hunt get up and scrape that quarter 2 fence. Unfortunately, may cause a little bit of extra damage there for that 54. We'll keep an eye on him as he backs it up ever so slightly. The 5 ride, unfortunately for Josh Crider, has to get slowed down here, has to kind of get checked up himself to not run that 54 ride over. And as you look back behind him, there 2, 3 wide back here duking it out. Everyone's trying to navigate their way to the front of the field. Some of them coming from deep in the back, others not too far back there. As you do take a look at Melvin Brengruer, he got an EOL. He had to start at the back of the pack here. Here he is racing his way up there. Did not take that pit stop to gain the track position like Gaston did. So Gaston will have to try and work his way up there as well. As Annis's Peacemaker, you didn't take a nap today? I didn't. I didn't take no nap today. No nap today. Unfortunately, I should have taken a nap today. That is for certain. I don't think there was much going on. I don't even remember what the heck I was doing for most of the day, but should have probably definitely took a nap, man. These late races, man, they get you sometimes. They get you sometimes, man. As this is past my bedtime, chat. This is past my bedtime throughout the week. It's Scott Healy. Healy, though, out in front, trying to hold on to the race lead as a pair of the Turning Point USA rides at the front of the field. A pair of the Charlie Kirk Memorial machines out there on the Speedway, battling here at the front of the field here, as the 6 ride of Brian Underwood around the outside is going to take over the race lead. So Underwood now out in front as Healy slides back to second. Here comes Caleb Hunt. He's right there, ready to work some more magic, hoping to try to put this Monster Energy ride maybe back up and into victory lane and make his 2 for 2 here in his career with the Premium Stock Car Racing League after winning his first ever race with us last Saturday night. Can he get it done again here this evening? Josh Crider right there, our Season 2 champion here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League. He's hoping that he can work his way to the front here, hope that he doesn't have to battle with any of these guys and he can just maybe steal this win and potentially lock himself into our playoffs. As Brandon Holder, Brandon right there as well. Brandon having a great run, another new driver here to the series in that 31 machine, and Holder racing his way up inside the top 5 into the top 3 now as he pushes that 5 ride of Josh Crider up and into position number 2. Unfortunately, had to roll out of the throttle a little bit more now, door to door for position number 4. But look out, some contact back there. Keith Ayers and the 27 ride of Nathan Brookover. Looks like they might have gotten together at a core number 2 right there. Some pretty good scrapage of that outside fence. And you do see Brookover may have gotten the worst end of that deal as the 27 right, our pole sitter here this evening, now falls outside of the top 10 on the Speedway. So Brookover on his way to the back of the pack as everyone else just trying to hang on to their rides here this evening, as now you do see the 64 Scott Healy. Healy maybe falling back another spot here as there we go. The Cat Financial, the Caterpillar 31 ride of Brandon Holder now works his way up and into that 3rd position. Now looking down low here on Josh Crider, trying to work his way around that number 5 machine, and he will make the pass down the front straightaway. His 20 laps are completed. We still got 20 laps left to go here in our first stage of the day. So there's still a lot of racing, a lot of laps left to go here in this one. So for these drivers, they just got to try to figure something out. They got to try to figure out whether or not that's the tires they got to worry about, if it's the fuel they got to worry about. I have a sneaky suspicion that tires could play a major factor in this race, as already it seems like some of these drivers starting to run, 7 tenths, 8 tenths slower than their best lap times out there on the Speedway. So they're starting to run quite a bit slower. They're starting to lose that pace. The handling of their race car slowly but surely starting to fall away. They're starting to go deeper and deeper in towards that 31-second bracket. Even when you look back here at Caleb Hunt, really starting to fall back now. The 54 Ryan, last couple times around, has ran in the 31-second bracket. That last time around ran almost a 32-second lap time, and for the 54 ride, he is moving the wrong direction out there on the racetrack. Now back into about that 14th position. You look at Melvin Branker, last time around ran 31 seconds. Same with Brookover, Keith Ayers, Kevin Calkins. So a lot of these drivers really starting to feel the wear and tear on these tires virtually after what we ran 15, maybe now after lap 23 we probably ran about 20 laps or so, 18-20 laps on a green flag set of tires here. So really halfway through this stage and you can already start to see that major tire fall off. So if you can take it easy, if you can save your tires early on in the run, use them a little later, could be the winning strategy on trying to work yourself to the point here this evening. Is Brian Underwood still trying to hold on to the race lead as the 31 of Brandon Holder looking to take it away from him. Scott Healy's right there as well as Gaston and the 36 rider George Jewell. George Jewell racing his way back up inside the top 5 here. Now looking for position number 4 as he just rolls down on that yellow line, able to keep his foot in the throttle. Looks like he's going to make that pass around that Doddridge County number 72 of Gaston, but Gaston down through 3, gonna battle back. So here we go. Scott Healy is going to head down pit road, making a green flag pit stop here for the 64 ride. He was one of the 3 drivers that did not pit during that first caution flag around lap number 8. So pretty much everyone else except for Scott Healy, Kevin Calkins in the 11 ride, in the 72 of Jonathan Gaston have been down pit road. They came down pit side on lap number 8, but now with Scott Healy coming down pit side, is that the run area? Is it 24, 25 laps of green flag racing, or is it just Scott Healy trying to take advantage of, just coming down pit road early, taking his lashings here? He will go a lap down as there goes the field here this evening, but maybe going a lap down first, able to carry some speed, carry some momentum here, hoping that maybe if we do see the other 2 drivers that did not pit there during that first caution flag, if they come down pit side, maybe that will give him an opportunity to kind of leapfrog them, stay in that lucky dog position. As you see, Gaston, he is yet to come back down pit road here, yet to make a pit stop here on the evening as he follows right in behind, sitting in that 3rd position, still having a great run here on the day for this 72 ride. After having to serve in EOL, start at the back of the pack, he used that first caution flag to leapfrog and gain back all the track position that he had lost with that penalty from last week. Now for the 72 ride of Gaston, rolling here in 3rd, looking really strong out there on the racetrack, and I know he'd love to try to get this car back up and into victory lane. George Jewell right there behind him as the Extreme Ride rolls there in position number 4 on the Speedway. It's the Extreme Scoring Ride. Okay, the Extreme Scoring Machine out there on the Speedway, rolling there in position number 4 and continuing to look for more as Keith Ayers right there behind him in position number 5. Now as Josh Crider falls back to 6 as looks like maybe the sun's starting to come out here a little bit more. Maybe some of this fog starting to lift here on the racetrack as it definitely looks, I don't know what it is. It looks foggy here in these different camera angles, but it looks like it's starting to get maybe a little bit better as the sun is starting to peek through some of those clouds and starting to look a little bit better out there. As look out, Brookover, hard contact there into the outside fence. Man, did he ever bounce it off that quarter 2 wall right there. Luckily enough, able to keep that thing rolling, able to keep that thing grooving here this evening. Is now, here we go, Brian Underwood. Underwood heads down pit road. So Brian Underwood down pit side, and we did see Kevin Calkins last time around also make a pit stop here. Now, I'm not sure if he got a pass-through penalty or if he missed his pit stall. Let's take a look here at the 11 right. So he comes down pit road, and it looks like, yeah, he missed his pit stall right there. He went a little too far down pit road, and unfortunately for the 11 ride, had to continue on rolling down through pit side, and now has to make an additional pit stop. Looks like he's going to get tires onto this car, but that should put him probably about 2 laps down, as we did see Brian Underwood come down pit side. Now we see George Jewell. Here comes Keith Ayers as well. So really, it's starting to look like that 25, but really it's not. Like, I don't know. We saw a couple drivers come down early. They've got a lap down. What is the run distance here? With drivers coming back down pit side on lap number 8, you take a look back at Jonathan Gaston. Okay, here we go. Gaston finally comes down pit road. So if he ran it pretty much dry in this 72 ride, they can run about 31, 32 laps on a tank of fuel. Now that puts a few of these drivers who are very much onto the question mark area, as we do see Gaston. Gaston gets a black flag. Pit road speeding penalty for that Mr. Gaston machine. Oh, that is a heartbreaker. We talked about that at the top of the show. Green flag pit stops and what they can do and how quickly they can take a good run and make it bad, as the 72 of Gaston having a solid run up inside the top 3, rebounding from a EOL to start this race after qualifying pretty good. This unfortunate black flag is going to hurt him a ton here, as unfortunately he may lose a couple laps out there on the racetrack easily here. And there may be a few drivers that try to trap some of these guys a lap down out there on the racetrack, as Brandon Holder keeps on rolling out there. This time by the start-finish line will complete lap number 34, as we do see Michael Ware now head down pit side here himself. So Ware down pit road, and Gaston is still down there, finally able to leave his pit stall. The black flag has been cleared. He's finally able to leave and rejoin this race, but not after going 2 laps down out there on the speedway. And he's just got to really hope that Brandon Holder comes down pit road before the end of the stage, that maybe he can get a waiver round, get at least a lap back, get another caution flag or 2, where maybe he can get that lucky dog and get back into the action. But if we say clean and green for most of the second stage, even going into the final stage, if he's still a lap or 2 laps down, it could get very, very tough, and it may trap that 72 ride a lap down or 2 throughout the rest of this race, as Brandon Holder continues to lead the way, looking for potentially stage win number 1 here on the evening, as Melvin Brengerer back there in second. Will Moore there in third, as here we go. Brandon Holder is going to head down pit road, so Holder makes his green flag pit stop here with only 4 laps left to go in this stage. Melvin Brengerer, Will Moore, T.G. Reese. You look back at Dustin Sleitler, Ben Gleason. They came back down pit road a lap later than everyone else, came down pit side on lap number 9. So they got that extra lap of fuel. Potentially that's enough for them to get to the end here. Caleb Hunt, Sean Wilder, they're still rolling out there. Nathan Brookover and Josh Crider still rolling out there as well. Yet to come down pit road. It looks like he's really trying to save some fuel right now in that 5 ride, giving up a ton of time, but knowing that there's some other drivers that may try to make it to the end of this race without coming down pit side. That could be the difference maker between being a lap down or not, as you do see, luckily enough drivers have made their way down pit side here that it's allowed Scott Healy, Brian Underwood, looks like Brandon Holder going to be the first car 1 lap down out there on the racetrack, unless we see a few more drivers make their way down pit road. But for Scott Healy and Underwood, fast enough cars, fast enough rides that they were able to keep themselves now on the lead lap. But for Holder, Keith Ayers, George Jewell, Michael Ware, Farrell Robbins, they're all 1 lap down. Jonathan Gaston and Kevin Calkins unfortunately find themselves 2 laps down out there on the racetrack. And it's Will Moore who has the race lead, and nice and easy down and out of corner number 4. Looks like he's not coming down pit road, and this time by the start finish line. This will be virtually 1 lap left to go to finish off this stage. Next time around, this stage will come to an end as the CarQuest Auto Parts number 30 rider T.G. Reese heads down pit road here himself, as Will Moore down and out of corner number 2 here. He's looking for this stage win. Dustin Sleitler back there in position number 2. Gleason in third. Brengerer and Sean Wilder rounding out our top 5, with Caleb Hunt, Brookover, Josh Crider, Chris Gantz, and Jordan Crider all right there as well. As there we go. We're going to see Oh, the 17 ride comes down pit road right as the stage is going to end, and that will give the stage win to Dustin Sleitler. Sleitler, first car down and across the line for Will Moore. He's not yet completed the lap, and he looks to be out of fuel. So for Will Moore, he has ran it dry. This car is out of fuel. He is just coasting down the front straightaway. He's yet to officially complete lap number 40. Now sits back in position number 12 as the caution flag will fly. So the stage officially has come to an end, but now here we go. Here comes Dustin Sleitler down pit side. This will be a penalty he'll have to serve after winning that stage break for Ben Gleason, Sean Wilder, Caleb Hunt, Melvin Brengerer. There are top four, with Sleitler obviously winning the stage here. He's just making his way down pit road. Obviously, fuel getting very, very tight there for that number 1 ride. Could not wait any longer. You do see that the number 17 was able to find his way down pit side for Will Moore, though. That has actually put him a couple laps down out there on the speedway, and that is not a fun place to be here. He is a couple laps down. You'll see Brookover also down pit road here as well. So, few drivers cutting it too close there on fuel, having to make these emergency pit stops. Could potentially give them some penalties, could potentially hurt their chances here this evening, as we'll get ready to set them loose. We'll get ready to go back to green flag racing in just a couple more moments, as each and every one of these drivers will hope to try to find their way up and into victory lane. As now here we go, pit road finally open. Here comes Gleason, here comes Sean Wilder, Caleb Hunt, Brengerer, Chris Getz right there. They head down pit side, and you do see Scott Healy and Underwood also come down pit road, and now it looks like potentially no issues there. Okay, so it was able to be clear, but let's take a look back here at Brandon Holder. Holder is scored in the 9th position. He was able to get the lap back there. Same with Keith Ayers, George Jewell, Dustin Sleitler. You had to make that emergency pit stop. He's still rolling out there for Josh Crider. Crider's out of fuel. Oh, no, this is a heartbreaker here. This is that different strategy, and obviously trying to keep yourself, whether it's on the lead lap or trying to keep enough fuel in the car to get stage points. You run that risk of running it too far, and unfortunately we saw that with the 17 ride of Will Moore, and now we're seeing it with Josh Crider here. Crider slow down on the infield, just trying to get this thing hopefully to coast its way into pit lane, and I think he's finally going to give up all that idea, and he'll have to tow that car down pit road. And for this number 5 ride of Josh Crider, making this tow call, this is going to cost him probably a couple laps out there on the speedway, and he'll be starting our second stage probably a lap or two down out there on the racetrack, as Dustin Sleitler, Sean Wilder, Caleb Hunt, Melvin Brengerer, and Scott Healy are top 5 out there on the speedway. Now, I'm not sure how the strategy calls will work out, if there will be a penalty for pitting during a red light there, a closed pit lane for Dustin Sleitler. I'm not sure if he'll get an EOL having to go to the back of the pack. We'll have to wait and see how iRacing scores it. Maybe they still had pit road open by the time he made it down pit lane. Maybe he'll be able to get away with it here. I'm not too sure on how this will play out, but you do see a few drivers able to take the wave around, trying to get themselves back on a lead lap. There goes Farrell Robbins. Looks like Kevin Calkins, unfortunately, not going to be able to get that wave around, but we did see T.G. Reese get it. We saw the 75 of Michael Ware. Looked like they were all able to get the wave around and back onto the lead lap here this evening. For Kevin Calkins, he actually did get the wave, but he is still one lap down out there on the speedway. Same with the 72 of Jonathan Gaston, still at least a lap, maybe even 2 laps down still for Gaston. Same with Will Moore. We still see Brookover down pit road. Brookover now is at least I'm going to say 2 laps down here himself, as here he comes, finally rolling back out onto the racetrack for Josh Crider. Looks like he's still down pit road. He's got to hope that the crew can start to go to work and that he can try to at least salvage a little bit of something on the day, as our race leaders are coming down in through corner number 3 right now. If he can't leave pit road in the next 25-30 seconds, more than likely he will lose another lap, and this will set him back even farther here in that beautiful SpongeBob Rubbered Up Productions Lonnie Crider number 5 ride here this evening. And unfortunately, I'm not sure if he's going to get the escape from pit road after that tow call, as here we come. Back down the front straightaway and down through the Geico restart zone. Here we go. Back to battle. Here is stage number 2 underway. And Sean Wilder, Caleb Hunt on the front row here, as it was a EOL penalty there for that one ride. Unfortunately for Dustin Sleitler, that emergency pit stop down pit side on a closed pit road cost him a lot of track position, but luckily enough, he did not run into the same fate that we saw for the 17 of Will Moore, who is now a couple laps down, or for Josh Crider, who is still down pit road. Looks like they have just finally got that car serviced. He is just able to roll back out and onto the racetrack, as here comes our race leaders down the front straightaway. He'll be coming out of the pits, and that will put him another lap down. So our race leaders are now on lap number 45. For Josh Crider, he's on lap 42 right now. I don't know how that works out, but he is on lap 42 as we speak. I'm not sure if iRacing will correct that or if that will change or whatnot, but nonetheless, he's at least 3 laps down, scored back in that 20th position, and that is not a fun spot to be for Josh Crider. Now, for drivers like Gaston, like Brookover, like some of these other drivers that are a lap or 2 laps down, they definitely need to try to figure something out to try to work themselves back into the action. For Kevin Calkins, I do believe he is the first driver 1 lap down out on the Speedway, so if we see a caution flag, he could work himself back on the lead lap. But here we go, duking it out at the front is the 31, gonna split the middle, gonna take him 3 wide. Here at the front of the field is Brandon Holder, will work his way to the point. So Brandon Holder, not going to be scared about it, jumps into the middle, makes a 3 wide pass, and puts himself to the point here in this feature event. The 31 ride really showing some muscle, really trying to hope and work his way into what could be a big win here this evening. Caleb Hunt right down to his inside. So Hunt and Holder, 2 new drivers here in the series over the last couple weeks. Here they are duking it out at the front of the field. Melvin Brangruer in the KFC number 19 ride rolls there in position number 3 with Sean Wilder. Keith Ayers there in 5th. Scott Healy back in 6th with Brian Underwood. Dustin Sleitler, George Jewell, Ben Gleason, Michael Ware there in 11th. Chris Getz, Farrell Robbins, Jordan Crider, T.G. Reese back there in 15th. Kevin Calkins there in 16th. Jonathan Gaston, Nathan Brookover, Will Moore, and Josh Crider rounding out our top 20 out there on the Speedway. But now, as stage number 2 has gotten underway here, they have now just completed lap number 49. We're rolling up towards that 50 laps into this race. Now, stage number 2 will not end till the completion of lap number 80. And if we saw that 40 lap run there through that first stage, drivers could not make it on their fuel, or if they did make it, they had to come down pit road around lap number 8 during that first caution flag. So they were able to get that extra bit of fuel. So it looks to be about that 30 to 32 lap area, really the distance that you can go on a tank of fuel here this evening, meaning that we're going to see everyone probably have to come back down pit road somewhere around lap number 70, potentially around lap number 74 out there on the Speedway before this next stage comes to an end. Unless if we see a caution flag, maybe splits this second stage up, really makes things a little bit more interesting to finish off the stage if everyone is good on fuel. But I think for the most part, it's going to be a little bit tougher. But here we go. We do see a caution as the 54 ride of Caleb Hunt goes around. Okay, so that brings in the question mark. Are we good on fuel if you come down pit road at this point? Let's take a look here. So the 64 down low, the 54 up on the high side, and it looks like potentially Caleb Hunt just moves down the racetrack across the nose here with Scott Healy. Doing another angle at this one. That's what it going to look like from there. So Healy's down low. 54 rides rolling middle-ish, and yeah, you're just going to see the 54 come down the track. Maybe a little net code helping him get sideways at the start there. Nonetheless, he's coming down. He's trying to take that lane away from the 64 ride. Unfortunately, just misjudges it. Was not clear. And for the 64, Scott Healy, it's not his prerogative to get onto the binders to stop a car from cutting over his nose. And unfortunately for Caleb Hunt, he finds out the tough way right there as he comes down, makes the contact. His car's going to go for a loop-de-loop, going to hurt his tires and his chances here this evening. But that does bring in the big question mark on fuel. Will we see some drivers head down pit road? I think we're going to see at least a couple tankers, as if they came down pit road this time by, it will give them virtually 29 laps to the end of stage number 2 here, which should be good on fuel. They should be pretty solid on it if they do come down pit side. Now, if you don't come down pit road, biting another caution flag, you're definitely going to have to make a green flag pit stop. So I think we're going to see everybody make their way back down pit side, probably not burn up a set of tires, but more than likely get a splash of gas and go here and hope that they got enough into their rides, enough into the tank that they will be good on fuel for the rest of the stage. And now that really brings into the question mark of, if you're pushing a little harder, if you're racing very, very hard, you're using that throttle up, you're making big moves out there on the speedway, well, you burn up that fuel a little bit sooner and maybe still run a little shy on fuel here this evening. Or if you can just take it easy. Let's take a look here at the race off of pit road. Looks like Brandon Holder is going to keep that spot. So Brandon Holder, first car down pit side, first car out of pit lane. Underwood there in second, Scott Healy in third. Brenger falls back to fourth as Dustin Sleitler, Sean Wilder, Keith Ayers, George Jewell, Ben Gleason, and Farrell Robbins going to round out our top 10 as we get ready to go back to green flag racing in just a couple more moments. So the green flag going to come back out here. Drivers will get ready to duke it out once again here this evening for another crazy restart. A lot of too wide, obviously, from the get-go, but we see these guys down even on the straightaway into corner number 1 through those first couple corners and down the back straightaway. They are rolling, 3, maybe even 4, 5 wide at times out there on the racetrack. So that can really make things very, very fun here on the Speedway as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back. The green flag racing here from Kentucky Speedway, as tires are probably going to be the name of the game here for majority of this race. The tires are going to be the biggest thing, as they do have 5 sets back behind pit wall. So virtually you want to run, close to a 40-lap run on every set of tires. Maybe you can kind of gamble on that final stage. Maybe make it into a 2-stop area. Use up an extra set there in that final run. But it's gonna be really, really interesting here. 40 laps at a time. You get 40 laps. It gets you 40, 80. There's 2 tires gone. Lap 120. There's another set gone. And maybe you cut that other stage a little bit in half. Maybe run about 25, 30 laps. And then come back down pit road. But I don't think these guys can really make it to that 40-lap marker. So they're really running about 30 laps and then taking tires, which makes things even tighter. It's a set of tires on lap 30, lap 60, lap 90, 120, and then lap 150. My calculations are right there. That is going to make things very, very interesting. Could be some late race pit stops for those tires. Could be some different strategies played out here to try to work yourself into victory lane here this evening. Maybe you try to give up stage points, or you give up a run to save an extra set, so you got to set back behind pit wall for potentially some late race caution flag, some late race drama and chaos is definitely always a possibility, and have that extra set back there being a second faster than the rest of the field could put you into a winning strategy. As here we go back to green flag racing, back as the green flag out and about here as Underwood gets that green flag. I do believe we saw Brandon Holder run into issues here. He ended up coming back down pit road as the caution flag will come right back out, as this time it's Scott Healy who's going to end up with some very serious damage here. Looks like TG Reese tying up into it. Keith Ayers going to get some damage there as well. But that's a big hit here on this restart for Scott Healy. This car not running in the right direction, as it looks like. I'm not sure if Ranguru gets up the track and into him. So the last couple of caution flags, unfortunately, have been into the 64 ride of Scott Healy. Healy's just been trying to run his race here in that Freedom 64 ride as they head down into corner number 1. He's kind of just making the corner right here, and it looks like Ranguru late to make that corner, looking to the outside of the 6 right here. And it looks like Brenger is just going to come off the track here on the racetrack. And unfortunately, as he does, he's just going to clip this 64 ride. And this is a big, big hit here for the 64 as watch right there. Just comes up, gets into him just ever so slightly in that Freedom ride. And unfortunately, for Scott Healy, this is going to shoot him just up the track. And he's going to go up the track into the outside fence, bounces back down in front of a bunch of drivers here. And this is some big, big hits. This is where we see Scott Healy end up with his big damage here, or more big damage for him, but Keith Ayers right there as well. See Ben Gleason just getting down low. Still gets a big piece of it, though. Heavy damage there for Gleason. 16 ride comes down the track. Farrell Robbins nowhere to go. Farrell Robbins hard into that number 16 ride. The 30 ride goes around, a little net code there on the 30 machine. That shoots him around where Jonathan Gaston gets a piece of him. Then you see the 75 ride also up and into the outside fence. It was a big hit for Michael Ware as well, as everyone's just trying to dodge all this mayhem. Things are just getting underway. Everyone's just building up that speed momentum again, and unfortunately, looks like he'll get hit by Healy. Then the 11 ride gets up into him. That shoves the 75 up and into the outside fence. Pretty solid contact there for him. Now you're going to see 16 ride of Ayers get into the number 30 ride of TG Reese there again as well. And you take a look here at Scott Healy trying to limp this car down pit road to use up one of his quick repairs early on in this race as that car crab walking down the straightaway here. Yeah, they're not supposed to be pointed that way. You see the 16 ride back there behind him kind of pointing in the exact same direction. Not as bad, though, as the toe lengths completely snapped here in this 16 ride. Looks like he's drifting the wrong way on these corners as he's just trying to keep this thing alive, man. This is kind of trippy, man. And this is a trippy look at this car rolling around the racetrack the way it is. You can take a look on board here and look at the steering wheel, as it is just turned all the way it possibly can to the left, and just it's still driving straight. You just got to keep that entire wheel pointing the opposite direction, and somehow or another it is working out for them. Somehow it's working its way down the straightaways and getting towards the pit road here. Obviously went around for an extra lap there, hoping to see pit road open so he doesn't get another penalty. But man, this is that's a tough break there for him, as we'll get them all ready to rock and roll. You do see that 64 machine able to use the quick repair. Car is back into one piece. It is fixed up and ready to rumble here again. Keith Ayers also getting his car repaired. We saw TG Reese down pit side getting some damage fixed. Farrell Robbins, he was getting some damage repaired there, as well as Michael Ware and all these other drivers, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing here in this one. As Brian Underwood has the race lead. Melvin Brenger there in second. The 99 of Shaw Wilder there in third, with the 1 ride of Dustin Sleitler. Sleitler rolls in fourth. Ben Gleason there in fifth. And then we see the 36 ride there, the extreme scoring ride of Mr. George Jewell there in that 6th position. Chris Gentz, another one of our no luck motorsports rides up there inside the top 10, as he's right behind his teammate Ben Gleason. Caleb Hunt back inside the top 8 with Kevin Calkins and the birthday boy Jordan Crider rounding up the top 10. As here we go back to green flag racing here this evening, is down through the Geico restart zone. Here we go back underway in stage number 2. So stage number 2 may be a little bit easier on these guys when it comes to pit strategy and fuel strategy, as they should be absolutely a-okay on fuel now. They should not have to worry about their fuel mileage to get to the end of this stage. They've only got about 20 laps left to go the next time by the start finish line, as they will complete lap number 60 out there on the racetrack. So lap 60 will get clipped off the board here. 40 laps left to go to finish off stage number 2 here this evening. So 20 laps left in this second stage as Brenger trying to take over position number 2 once again on the racetrack. Looks like this time he's able to get around the 99 rider Sean Wilder. No contact with the second place car, and that will move the 19 of Brenger into second. Sean Wilder now trying to hold on to third as he's got the 66 of Gleason down to his inside as the 66 works his way up and in the third. Unfortunately, Sean Wilder falls back into fourth. Now here comes Dustin Slightler, George Jewell, Caleb Hunt, all right there, ready to make some moves, ready to try to drive their way back up inside the top 5 out there on the racetrack and maybe work their way into a stage win here this evening. As Jordan Crider in position number 8. Jordan looking for some solid stage points here this evening as that Ford Mustang rolls there in that 8th position. Kevin Calkins, Brandon Holder, Chris gets there in 11th now as he's fallen back since that restart. He's got the 16 of Keith Ayers and Scott Healy right there behind him. Ayers and Healy, 2 drivers that ended up with massive damage during that last caution flag, and for both drivers able to use their quick repairs, no longer have them in their back pocket though, so they got to keep themselves clean out there on the speedway. Cannot have issues, cannot run into problems, or else it could take them out of this race for a long time here this evening. As TG Reese right there as well, working that CarQuest Auto Parts ride inside the top 15, rolls there in that 14th position. Farrell Robbins back in 15th. Then we see Brookover back onto the lead lap for the 27 ride, rolls there in the 16th position. Michael Ware there in 17th. That is the last lead lap car out there on the speedway for that 75 ride. Will Moore, the first car a lap down out there on the racetrack. So for Will Moore and Jonathan Gaston, both still a lap down. For Will Moore, he is in that free pass position. For the 72 rider, Gaston still some pretty heavy damage on his car, and unfortunately stuck back there at 19th. Does not look like he'll be in position for potentially that lucky dog unless if something happens to Will Moore. And then you see Josh Crider back there. Crider unfortunately still a couple laps down out there on the speedway, and unfortunately going to need some more wave arounds or some more yellows to get lucky dogs to try to work his way back onto the lead lap here this evening as Brian Underwood has the race lead. He's out in front, half a second between himself and Melvin Brenger. Brenger trying to hold on to position number 2 as Ben Gleason in the Team No Luck Motorsports ride. Number 66, Ryan, trying to work his way up and into position number 2. Dustin Slightler right there as well as Sean Wilder holding on here to that 5th position, but he's got George Jewell, Hunt, Jordan Crider. Here comes Kevin Calkins and Brandon Holder right back into this battle as well as they look to try to work their way up towards the front of the field. Some tight racing back here for our 5th position as George Jewell looking to try to take the top 5 away from that 99 rider Sean Wilder, but Wilder going to hang strong there as the High Velocity Racing 99 ride rolls there to the outside, keeping the extreme scoring. 36 Machina, George Jewell kind of at bay, not able to complete that pass. They're still door to door, and down across the line, Sean Wilder still holds on to position number 5 out there on the racetrack. Is stage number 2 quickly drawn to a close here. Stage number 2 coming to an end in a quick hurry is down across the line. Next time here for Brian Underwood, our race leader. They will complete lap number 68, and that means we only have 12 laps left to go here in this stage. So 12 laps left, and you do see Ben Gleason able to work his way around Melvin Brenger. Does Gleason have enough left in the tank? Does Gleason got something up his sleeves that he can use to his advantage to maybe jump up and steal this stage win away from Brian Underwood? Now you do see Dustin Slightler able to make that pass on the 19 ride as well. So Brenger falls back into 4th here. Now a bit of a gap, a couple car lengths here to that 5th place driver, Sean Wilder, as George Jewell just could not make that pass. And for Jewell, unfortunately, getting checked up on that inside lane. Looks like he will lose a couple more positions as the 33 of Jordan Crider and the 31 of Brandon Holder both able to get around Jewell. That will slide him back into the 8th position as Kevin Calkins and Caleb Hunt right there in 9th and 10th. But here comes Scott Healy. Healy Keith Ayers looking to try to race their way back inside the top 10 out there on the racetrack. As out in front, it's Brian Underwood who will complete lap number 70. So 70 laps completed here, just under 100 laps left to go here in this feature event. 97 laps left to duke it out here today. 97 laps to get it done, to try to work yourself up and into victory lane, to try to put yourself into a winning strategy out there on the Speedway. Is Brian Underwood looking for another win here on the season? But I know for Ben Gleason, he's been looking for victory lane again here in this series. He wants to find the top spot, wants to earn some good stage points and trying to help his cakes out to being able to make it into our playoffs again this season. As Dustin Sleitler rolls there in third, it's Brenger back in fourth. Sean Wilder, Brandon Holder there in position number 6. Jordan Crider, the birthday boy, rolls there in 7th with George Jewell, Caleb Hunt, and now Scott Healy inside the top 10. Kevin Calkins back there at 11th. Keith Ayers down to his inside, trying to take over that 11th spot. As right now he's in 12th, but now here we go. Here's the 75 of Michael Ware, the 76 of Farrell Robbins. The 27 of Nathan Brookover rounds out our top 15. So for our pole sitter, after going a lap or two down early in this race, the 27 ride now finds himself back on the lead lap, now into that 15th position, seeing if he can try to rebound here or make the best that he can out of today's feature event. As Chris gets back there in 16th, TG Reese there in 17th. TG right now is the last car on the lead lap, as Will Moore, first car one lap down out there on the Speedway. First car a lap down, looking for another caution flag or for the stage break to happen where he can get the wave around the lucky dog back onto the lead lap here this evening and back into contention here himself. For Jonathan Gaston, unfortunately still a lap down, scored back in 19th. And for Josh Crider, 2 laps down, back here in that 20th position. As we see all these drivers continuing to battle, continue to duke it out. It's getting tight here at the front, but back there behind them, it's getting tight back here for that 3rd position. John Wilder working his way now around that 19 ride. Brenger looking down to the inside for Sleitler. Sleitler falls back here as well, now sits back in that 7th position. So some drivers coming on strong here late in this stage, trying to race their way to the point. But right now it is Brian Underwood who holds about a 2-car length lead between himself and Ben Gleason, with only 5 laps left to go here in this stage. So 5 laps left here in stage number 2, and it's Mr. Underwood who's hoping to try and find the stage win here this evening, an extra bonus point to go towards his playoff hunt here this evening, but also some extra stage points to go towards the regular season point standings. If you can win the regular season point standings, that's even more bonus points that will carry through the playoffs for you, and all these stage points and all the race wins for the 6th ride of Underwood, trying to make it so that he can have a fairly easy run to trying to make it through each stage of our playoffs and hoping to try to go after another championship. He has won the back-to-back championships here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League. Normally, we see him get his wins towards the playoffs, in the playoffs, and towards the end of the year. That's where we see him pick up dubs, but now we see an issue. Caution flag out on the racetrack, and it looks like the birthday boy of Crider turned around. Caution flag back on the racetrack. This should bring us to the end of our stage as well. Here we go. Looks like 3 wide back here, and they're just going to start to run out of room as the 1 ride of Sleitler washes up the track right there. So it looks like Sleitler runs deep down low here, taking a big run down to the inside. As he has fallen backwards, he's been passed by that 64 in the 33 ride of Crider, falls back behind them, but gets a good run down the back straightaway, shoots down to the inside, takes it 3 wide, and it just looks like all that speed momentum, looks like the car is just going to push up the racetrack. Let's see if we can get another look at it here. Let's take a look at that one machine. Sleitler is going to send it in deep underneath the 64 Healy and that 33 right of Crider, and unfortunately just running it that shallow into the corner at that rate of speed. I believe you're going to watch this 1 ride right here start to slide up the speedway. Maybe a little net code there as well, but definitely coming up into the lane that Scott Healy was in, and it just unfortunately affects Healy's ride. You're going to see a little bit of net code right there. Makes contact into the 64 Ryan, who bounces up into the 33 of Jordan Crider. For Crider, he's just trying to hang on to this thing, trying to hopefully keep it out of trouble. Does bounce off the 64. Now you see the 75 Ryan's going to get into Healy, and for Healy, he's going to get some more damage, going to go around again here himself, and as he does, you see the 75 Ryan ends up with some good damage there as well. As, oh man, some close calls here for Brookover for the 11 ride of Captain Calkins, T.G. Reese. A lot of these guys just luckily enough able to avoid massively running into that 64 ride of Scott Healy and potentially ending his day here at the Speedway, as we are going to see Scott Healy down pit road for an extended period of time trying to get damage repaired. Same with Michael Ware, same with Jordan Crider, as they're trying to get their cars fixed up, back into good running order and back out onto the racetrack. For Will Moore, he will get the lucky dog back onto the lead lap, and now you see these guys rolling out here. You do see the 5 rider, Josh Crider. He's looking for the wave around. So potentially we may get a 1-lap shootout. I'm not sure how this stage is going to end, but it looks like the 5 ride of Josh Crider going to get the wave around. This will not put him back onto the lead lap, but this will move him, I do believe, to 1 lap down. So that is a good break there for that number 5 ride. That's a good call. Good break there for him. Now he's just got to hope that they can run a lap before the end of this stage. I'm not sure how this stage is going to end, or if they will use that as the stage break right there and not throw the stage caution at the completion of lap number 80. But I do believe, I thought potentially that they were automatic cautions there for the stage breaks. But if they're not, then this may help, but also may hurt that 5 ride of Mr. Josh Crider, as Crider hasn't been down pit road since lap 55. He's probably only going to be able to run somewhere around another 5-10 laps before having to come back down pit side himself anyways. Out there on the racetrack and making that green flag pit stop will put him a couple laps down again on the Speedway. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Maybe he catches another quick caution flag, able to make a pit stop, or potentially put himself into a lucky dog position. We'll wait and see how this plays out, as we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing. For Brian Underwood, he's ready to go back to battle. He's ready to duke it out again here this evening, as he's trying to keep himself at the point, trying to keep this 6 ride up and into victory lane, as the Turning Point USA ride sees the pace car make the hard left-hand turn back down pit road. And here we go, back to the Geico restart zone, and it's the 6 ride, Brian Underwood, who's going to get a good launch right here. I'm not sure what was going on here with this restart. Let's take a look back at it. What's going on here? The 1 ride just seems to be checking up. I don't see Underwood really gaining much ground or speed between the cars behind him. Gleason hangs right with them. For the 1 ride, slows down. You see him starting to get stacked up right there, and unfortunately for the 1 machine, just a very slow restart, and that may hurt him quite a bit. As you see Brandon Holder looking to make some early moves here in this final stage of the day. Races his way back to the point as Brian Underwood fighting there to his outside, trying to keep himself still in the top position, as you see Brangroer and Ben Gleason right there ready to pounce. Here comes George Jewell into the fight, and our pole sitter Nathan Brookover back into the battle up here at the front of the field as well. Sean Wilder there in 8th, with Keith Ayers and Caleb Hunt rounding out our top 10 on the Speedway. Now we do see a black flag here on the number 64 rider, Scott Healy. Now I'm not sure if that will get cleared, or if he may have to work his way back down pit road here, as we do see T.G. Reese also with the black flag. He is headed down pit side, and unfortunately having to serve a pass through penalty for this 30 machine for T.G. Reese. This is definitely going to hurt him and his chances here this evening, and could potentially put him a lap down to join the likes of Jonathan Gaston and Josh Crider as the only cars a lap down out there on the Speedway. T.J. Reese still rolling down pit lane. He's hoping that he can get released here, hoping that he can find that speed here before our race leaders catch up to him, and I don't think it's going to work out for him, as there you go. They're going to steamroll right on around him, and for Brandon Holder out in front. We'll put that 30 right at TG Reese a lap down out there on the Speedway. For Holder, though, he's out in front. He's got the race lead, and there, down the back straightaway, we will hit our halfway point here in this race. Halfway in, halfway to go here this evening. Still a lot of racing left here in this feature event. Still a lot of laps, a lot of opportunities, and a lot of chances to either move forward, fall backwards, trying to advance yourself here, trying to find that extra gear, trying to find the run that you need to potentially try and put yourself up and into victory lane here this evening as Brandon Holder out in front, Gleason and Underwood back there second and third on the Speedway. Let's see if we can jump on board one of these drivers. See if we can jump on board with Farrell Robbins here. And see, actually, let's see if we can jump on board one of our drivers with the webcams here as, I do believe this is Caleb Hunt. I could be wrong, but I do believe this is Caleb. See if we can get Caleb's webcam up and rolling here, and let's see if we can jump on board. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to jump on board here with one of our drivers this evening, which I do believe is Mr. Caleb Hunt. Now, this is not popping up for me, so I don't know why that is not working. Interesting. Alright, we're trying to figure out this webcam and why it does not seem to want to pop up here on screen. Alright, well that does not seem to want to work. Alright, well, we're not going to do that. Let's see if we can jump on board, though, with them. Have a lap around here with Caleb Hunt and see what he can see. See what these drivers are looking at as they roll out there on the racetrack here at Kentucky Speedway. Up here in the booth, up here in the camera angles that we get, it still looks fairly foggy. I don't know what it is, but here at Kentucky, here tonight, it just seems like it is low cloud coverage and things are very, very foggy there for those cameras. But inside the race car, it's pretty clear. They don't really have that hard of a time to see, to try to look, to try to feel what's going on out there on the racetrack, and luckily enough for them, it is working out a-okay here this evening. It has not hurt them out there on the racetrack, that is for certain, as they're all looking very, very strong, very good. But you take a look at how these guys are having to roll these corners, how they're able to really navigate around this racetrack and trying to find the speed, try to find the runs, the momentum, and how they gotta try to navigate Kentucky Speedway here this evening, and how many different lanes there really are. This is a big, wide racetrack. There's a lot of room to kind of go 3, 4, 5 wide out there on the racetrack, and it's all about where your car works best, where you can find the most speed, the biggest run, to try and work yourself forward and try to work yourself into a winning situation. Let's right on board here with Caleb Hunt for another lap here, as we'll really just get the look of what these guys are dealing with and where they're rolling out there on the racetrack. Let's even move forward here to Keith Ayers as Ayers continues to look to try to make some passes out there on the racetrack. Alrighty, as you see Keith continuing to try to make some passes, continuing to try to race his way to the point here this evening. Is tight racing here at the front of the field. As out in front, it is Brandon Holder who continues to hold on to the race lead. It's Brian Underwood back there in position number 2. Then you see Ben Gleason in third, the 36 rider, George Jewell in the 19. Melvin Brengerer currently right now rounding out our top 5. But for Keith Ayers, he's down low. He's looking to move inside the top 5 as the 19 ride pushes up the racetrack right there through 3 and 4, but looking for a big run down the front straightaway. As here comes Caleb Hunt, here comes the 27 of Brookover, Farrell Robbins, and Will Moore right there as well. Good run here going for Will Moore. After going a couple laps down, he's been able to get a couple lucky dogs, a couple free passes, and for the 17 ride, sits now inside the top 10. Able to just make the pass there on the 76 of Farrell Robbins for the 9th position. So for this NJBDesigns.com Fast and All Ford, 17 machine of Will Moore inside the top 10, looking to rebound after a tough start to this race. And for the 17, he's looking to see if he can gain a few more spots here. He's reeling in this 27 ride and our lead back in a quick hurry. He looks to have a hot rod out there on the Speedway, so we'll have to wait and see if he's able to use that speed, that momentum to try to work himself up towards a race win here this evening. At the number 31 of Brandon Holder. Holder continues to lead this race. Holder out in front, doing a fantastic job running here at the front of the field, trying to keep everyone back at bay, trying to keep all these drivers back behind them, but it's going to be easier said than done as 95 laps completed in this race. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty, and the opportunities to make some runs, to make some moves is starting to fade away as drivers were down pit road on lap number 78. Now, lap 78, they were down pit sign. They ran a couple laps under yellow flag. They went back to green flag racing around lap number 80. I'm going to assume that we're going to see these drivers back down pit road, making green flag pit stops right around that lap 110 area. So around 110 laps into this race, they're going to be back down pit road, which really opens up the door here to probably having to come back down pit side somewhere around lap number 140, which makes things very, very tight for the final run of the day on fuel. You really got to make it to that 140 area. So we're really going to see drivers trying to stretch out fuel here, not only during this run, trying to make it to that 110, maybe just a little bit past 110 laps into this race. So that way they can try to make it towards somewhere around lap 140, maybe lap 142, 143, making it so that they really have a little under a 30-lap run to the end of that race. As coming down pit road at lap 137, that gives you a 30-lap run to the end of the race, where fuel, you can run out if we run into NASCAR overtime. If we got to do a couple extra restarts late in the race, that really could make fuel a big issue for a lot of our front runners here later in the evening. And now if anyone saved up an extra set of tires as well, if they got an extra set back there behind pit wall, if they can use that late in the race to their advantage, could potentially drive their way up to the front of the field and into a solid finish or potentially a victory here this evening. As now you see Brian Underwood almost claims the outside fence out of corner number 4 right there. Really had to roll out of the throttle. Unfortunately, that's going to send this Turning Point USA Charlie Kirk Memorial ride all the way back now into that 7th position. Will Moore working right there on his back bumper, as Moore looking to pick up maybe a couple more spots out there on the racetrack, as unfortunately for Brian Underwood, goes from 2nd now to 7th. Just that one simple mistake out there on the Speedway. It's nice and easy down across the line. They will complete lap 100 here this evening. So 100 laps are now completed. 100 laps down and only 67 laps left to go. 67 laps left to try to figure your car out, to figure out your strategy, and to try and put yourself up and into victory lane here this evening. As Brandon Holder in the top position, it's Ben Gleason back there in 2nd. George Jewell into his inside here. Jewell looking to try to jump up into position number 2 as Brand Brewer and Keith Ayers continue to battle door to door out there on the racetrack. You see Caleb Hunt right there in the mix with Underwood back in 7th. Will Moore there in 8th. A bit of a gap back to that 27 and 8th and Brookover. Farrell Robbins there rounding out our top 10 in the Dude Wipes extra large. Number 76 right there in 10th. Sky Healy back in 11th with Sean Wilder there in 12th. Kevin Calkins in 13th with Michael Ware. Dustin Sleitler and Chris Getz duking it out here. This is for that 15th position. Looks like Getz will move up into 15th. Sleitler will fall back into 16th. Jordan Crider there in the 17th position with Jonathan Gaston. First car one lap down out there on the racetrack. Currently scored in that 18th position. For TG Reese, TG rolls in the 19th spot here. He's the second car one lap down, but he's not too far away from Gaston here, trying to maybe move himself into that lucky dog spot on the racetrack. And unfortunately, for all the Josh Crider fans of the stands, Crider is down pit road, and he's been down pit side for quite some time. So it looked like his strategy was not going to work out there for that number 5 ride here this evening. Looks like he may have called it an early night here for that Toyota, as we saw him take that wave around as the stage ended there. As stage 2 ended, took the wave around, which put him to 1 lap down. If he was able to get a quick caution flag, if he could have seen a quick yellow, he could have came back down pit side, got fuel, got tires, got everything that he needed. But as he went back to green flag racing, he only had virtually that 6 laps left of fuel in this number 5 ride, and eventually had to come down pit road. And doing so, he was going to probably lose a lap or two again, so he would have been 2 or 3 laps down fairly late in this race. And unfortunately for Crider, that was enough for him to say, yeah, I'm just going to park it down pit side, as they are still rolling out there on the speedway. Next time by, this should put him about 19 laps down right here. So unfortunately, that is definitely going to keep him out of victory lane, or out of even a very solid run here this evening. A heartbreaker there for Mr. Crider this evening. But for Brandon Holder doing a great job here, rolling in the top position. He's looked very, very strong here this evening, but so has Ben Gleason. Gleason having another really, really strong run here for this No Luck Motorsports Ford, as this team's been coming on strong here the last few weeks and looking very, very good again here this evening, looking for another solid run, another solid drive, and maybe trying to put himself up and into victory lane here today. George Jewell back there in position number 3, with Melvin Brenger back there in 4th. Will Moore up inside the top 5, so from a couple laps down, able to get a couple lucky dogs. The 17 ride, Will Moore back on to the lead lap, and now inside the top 3s. Here we go. Green flag pit stop's going to get underway, maybe coming down pit road a little bit earlier than a lot of these other drivers, and that could really be a mistake for late in this race as they come down pit road on lap 107, virtually completing lap 107 here. Now this will give them 2 30-lap runs to the end of this race. When you look at George Jewell, Brandon Holder, Kevin Calkins, all coming down pit side. We do see Michael Ware, and still down pit road is Josh Crider, but now we do see the next wave. So here comes Gleason, Melvin Brenger, Scott Healy. They head down pit road. So this is virtually going to make it, you know, a 30-lap run and another 30-lap run to get to the finish line here this evening. That's virtually where their fuel can allow them to roll. But for a lot of these drivers that had just come down pit road on lap 107 and here on lap 108, this is really just going to get you the bare minimum. If there is any extension of this race, if there is a late race restart or anything else, there is no error room. There is no wiggle room. If you make a mistake, if you don't get enough fuel into your ride, how is that going to affect your car later on? As we do see Nathan Brookover, looks like Brookover going to serve a black flag penalty here. That is a tough one here in this one. As what's up, Jimmy 6 times? What's good, brother? How are you, mister? Coming in, showing the love, says hi. Stalkers, who's stalking you, brother? Who in the world is stalking you? Yeah, unfortunately for the 27 ride, he's just creeping down the racetrack here as well. Is he out of fuel? Is Brookover somehow run out of fuel down here on the straightaway? This is an interesting turn of events for the 27, our pole sitter. Obviously, this is really going to hurt his chances here this evening, as you do see Sean Wilder down pit road. Dustin Sleitler heads down pit side as well. Now Sleitler looks like he's rolling really slowly here as well. You do see Jordan Crider, he's still rolling out there, able to lead a lap. So for the 33 ride, he's probably going to want to come down pit road. For Keith Ayers with a great pit stop. And for the 16 ride, he comes out of the pits with the race lead, but came down pit road a couple laps later than Brandon Holder here. And you got to wonder if potentially not enough fuel going into the 16 ride. If they do not get this thing completely filled with fuel, if he can't run that 30 or even 28 lap run, that could really take him out of the fuel window at the end of this race. So it's going to play out very, very interesting as we do see Jordan Crider, the birthday boy, finally makes it down pit road, able to complete his pit stop. But you do see Brookover still down pit side here. 27 Ryan still getting service done, and obviously had a black flag, a pit road penalty there for that 27 Ryan, and he is still down pit side. For Will Moore, Will was having such a good run. He was up inside the top 10, up inside the top 5 virtually before the pit stops, and come down pit road there on lap 109, but down pit side for an extended period of time. And unfortunately for Will Moore, as he rolls back out onto the racetrack, he is now again another 3 laps down, 3 laps down out there on the racetrack. It's a heartbreaker there for Will Moore, able to rebound early on. I don't think he'll be able to rebound and gain those laps back here again this evening. So that is a heartbreaker for him. Finally, we see Brookover able to roll back out onto the racetrack after going at least a couple, 2-3 laps down there himself. And unfortunately for Brookover, that will hurt his chances here this evening. As Crider still down pit road, unfortunately, he looks like his night is done. As out in front, it is Brandon Holder. Holder has the race lead. So looks like Keith Ayers has fallen back again into about position number 4 as Brandon Holder jumps back out in front, but it's Ben Gleason sticking right there with them. Gleason looking very, very strong here this evening in the No Luck Motorsports ride, with again another solid performance and another good opportunity here to potentially try and win a race this season. So it's going to be good. It's going to be fun to see if Gleason can get it done and find his way into victory lane here this evening. George Jewell back there in third, having a very solid run in his extreme scoring. Number 36 right there in that third position. Keith Ayers back there. The DeWalt Mustang rolls in position number 4. Brian Underwood in his Turning Point USA. Charlie Kirkbride rolls there in 6. Scott Healy actually back in 6. Underwood is in 5th. Healy is in the 6th position. As you do see Melvin Brengerer, he's back there in 7th. Sean Wilder rounds out our top 8. Caleb Hunt in 9th, and Kevin Calkins rounding out our top 10. Farrell Robbins there in 11th, with Chris Getz back in 12th. Jordan Crider, Michael Ware, and Dustin Sleitler rounds out our top 15. It's Jonathan Gaston there in 16th. T.G. Reese there in 17th. Will Moore, Nathan Brookover, and Josh Crider rounding up the field here in this one, but it's Brandon Holder out in front who continues to hold on to the race lead. It's 116 laps completed, so the next time by the start-finish line, it will be 117 laps done and completed here this evening. So down through corner number 3, nice and easy out at corner number 4, back down the Kentucky Speedway front straightaway across the line. Officially 50 laps left to go here in this feature event. So 50 laps left to duke it out here this evening as we'll jump into a Peacemaker Gaming crank it up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here this evening as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. come our race leaders down pit road. There's Ben Gleason, there's Scott Healy, door to door for the race lead. They both head down pit side. And down across the line, it's Brian Underwood who will lead lap 137, meaning that we have only 30 laps left to go in this race. Now, for a lot of these drivers pitting a little bit earlier, we did see Brent Brewer down pit road. We saw drivers like Kevin Calkins down pit side. George Jewell came down pit road on lap 135. Same with Brandon Holder, also down pit road on lap 135. For a couple of these other drivers, looking a little deeper in the field, when you look back at Farrell Robbins, Michael Ware, unfortunately, they were down pit road on lap 133, 131. They may still have to make an additional pit stop here this evening, as really making it to that 137 marker was really the bare minimum. That was the line right there to be able to make it to the checkered flag without having to make another pit stop. Even coming down pit road on 136 may make things very, very interesting. You may be a lap shy. You may be right on that breaking point. But if we do see a late race caution flag, I think pretty much everybody will be back down pit road. So if you got an extra set of tires back down behind pit wall, that could be the difference maker. As Sean Wilder going to run a little bit longer. Same with Jordan Crider and Dustin Sleitler. So Sleitler going to roll out there for a little bit longer here as well, as these three were down pit road around lap 110, lap 111, and for these three drivers, it could potentially, they can go 30 laps, just 30 laps. I wasn't sure because we saw Gaston during that first run made about 32 laps, but there were the caution laps in there that he may have been able to save that couple laps of fuel. So yeah, that 30 laps is really the bare minimum. That is the basic amount that you can run here on fuel out there on the speedway. So for a lot of these drivers that had to come down pit road a lap or so earlier, really brings into that question mark of potentially running out of fuel before this checkered flag. So Sean Wilder finally down pit side. You do see Crider rolling at least another lap out there on the speedway. Scott Healy comes out of the pits with the race lead. So Healy is out in front, as Jimmy Six Time says, if you save a little more, but you lose so much pace. Yeah, exactly. That is sometimes the big question mark. Is saving really worth it? Is saving fuel going to help you out, whether or not it may be for a win or just for a solid top 10 run? If you give up too much time getting that fuel advantage or running a lap or two longer, that may be the difference maker between, making a top 10 run or potentially finishing outside the top 15 out there on the speedway. As we do see Jordan Crider finally makes his way down pit side, so he'll forfeit the race lead. That will move Scott Healy back to the point. Brandon Holder right there, as well as Ben Gleason. Now for Gleason, he was out in front, was leading this race. Scott Healy came from deeper in the field and ran down our top 5 and caught up to the 66 ride and was right there with them, door to door down and into pit road, making their final pit stops back on lap 137. Now here they are, duking it out for potentially the race win. Brandon Holder, he came down pit side on lap 135, so he may have to try to save some fuel. Same with George Jewell, as now look out, around goes Scott Healy. Healy up and into the outside fence. No caution flag on the racetrack as of yet. No yellow flag. We keep it clean, as Healy, unfortunately, heavy damage for this Freedom 64 ride, and we got to hope that he is far enough down there. Nope, that's going to bring the yellow flag out. All right, so stop there on the racetrack. That will bring the yellow flag out. Unfortunately, that will more than likely end Scott Healy's afternoon, as we will take a look back and see what happens here to the 64 ride, as he was battling for the race lead. I'm not sure if he got a shove into corner number 1 or if there was, just a handling issue here. Let's take a look at it. More than likely, we're going to see at least a shot from the 66 ride right there at Ben Gleason. So Gleason gives him a bump down into corner number 1 here, and a little early for the bump and run, but nonetheless, gives him a shot. Gets him loose, washed him off the track. Gleason gets a good piece of him, but for the 64 ride, hard contact into the outside fence. Heavy front end, front right damage for that 64 ride. That car is pretty much toast. No quick repair left for the 64 after heavy damage early in this race. And unfortunately, looks like he is going to just get stopped there on the infield, and that will bring the caution flag out, and that will put us under the yellow, and that will really mix things up here on the evening, as now that's going to bring everyone kind of able to either come back down pit road, make these additional pit stops, look for repairs, make sure they got enough fuel into the tank, or try to stay out, gain that track position. And that's exactly what we see. We see a few drivers like Brian Underwood going to stay out. Sean Wilder stays out. Keith Ayers stays out. We do take a look back at Jordan Crider, who was just down pit road. He's going to get the wave around here. He will get back onto the lead lap, so a great break there for Jordan Crider. For Dustin Sleitler, Sleitler was hoping to get the wave round, hoping to get that free pass back on the lead lap. Unfortunately, he is still scored as a lap down. Same with the 17 right there, a couple laps down for Will Moore. Michael Ware, Jonathan Gaston, T.G. Reese all trapped the lap down, as well as Chris Getz. Scott Healy broke over a few laps down here. Obviously, Crider still parked down pit road. Looks like Scott Healy has taken his car back down behind pit wall. As out in front, Brian Underwood with the race lead. Now, he was able to roll a lap longer than everyone. He only had to run virtually a 29-lap run to get into the checkered flag, so he was good on fuel. Now, with this yellow flag, it can probably save him another lap or two of fuel. So if we do go to NASCAR overtime, he may be A-okay. So having the clean air, having the track position, maybe that's the winning call out there on the Speedway. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out as Sean Wilder rolls there in second. Keith Ayers now into third. Ben Gleason will be scored back in position number 4 with George Jewell there in 5th. Melvin Brengerer back in 6th. Caleb Hunt in 7th. Brandon Holder scored back in position number 8 with Kevin Calkins back in 9th, and Farrell Robbins rounding out the top 10 in the Dude Wipes XL number 76 ride in the top 10. For Jordan Crider, he scored back in 11th, last car on the lead lap. And for Dustin Sleitler, he'll be the first car one lap down. Unfortunately for these lap down cars, they do normally have to go to the back of the pack here. We'll have to wait and see how this gets scored. They may stay in front of the other cars, but I do believe we should see George Jewell, Gleason, all these guys get in front of the lap down cars here. They should be rolling towards the back of the pack. The lap down cars will not stay in front of the lead lap cars. They will have to move up and out of the way, allow them to get by them, and let our lead lap drivers get lined up and ready to roll here once again. As out in front, it is Mr. Underwood who has the race lead. Sean Wilder will restart there to his outside. It's down across the line going back to the green flag. It should be a 21-lap shootout here to this checkered flag. 21 laps to duke it out here in this one, as everyone's going to be looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. They'll be trying to put themselves up and into the winning situation out there on the Speedway. And for right now, this may not be our final caution flag. We kind of saw a few cautions kind of fly together, especially now that it's this late in the race. Cautions really do breed cautions, and you start to get this intensity level built up. Everyone knows that this could be their final restart or two. Maybe it's going to be their final run to maybe try to make a move or two to gain a couple extra positions, to try to put yourself into a spot to gain a win here this evening, or maybe a top 5 performance. Here we go. Big restart out of the 6th ride of Brian Underwood. Underwood able to quickly get onto the lap pedal. Oh, man, he's able to open up a quick lead here between himself and Keith Ayers, as Ayers able to slide around Sean Wilder. Wilder slides back into position number 3. George Jewell down low, the 66. Gleason trying to get the outside lane rolling. He's got that 31, the 54, right down to the inside here of that 66 ride after what looked to be potentially his race to lose. It looked so good for so long for that 66 ride of Ben Gleason, but now kind of just getting steamrolled back here and slid back into position number 7 on the racetrack. Melvin Brengerer right there with them. Now here comes Kevin Calkins and Farrell Robbins into the picture as well, but there is still 20 laps left in this race. There is still a lot of time to try to rebound, make some positions up, and if you take it a little bit easy, if you try to save maybe a little bit of tire here for the first 5-10 laps of this run, where other drivers are a little bit more on it, or maybe burning up their equipment a little bit quicker than you are, potentially that could open up the door door for you to make some passes again later in this race as Ben Gleason sticks to the outside here of Caleb Hunt for that 6th position on the racetrack. As Brian Underwood, though, continuing to lead the way. Brian, nice and easy, down and out of car number 4, back down and across the start-finish line. They'll complete lap 149 here this evening. We're getting down to the nitty-gritties. 18 laps of racing left to go here from Kentucky Speedway. Underwood looking for another big checker flag here in the season, as it was nice during our crank it up, and now here towards the later half of this race as you see a few drivers get up into the outside fence that these heavy clouds, the fog is kind of dissipated, and it's a nice good way to finish off this race. Beautiful clear skies, and for these drivers it's gonna be a lot of fun, but there's contact back behind him. Look out, Caleb Hunt, hard contact into the outside fence. Same with the number 66 of Ben Gleason. Gleason's night may have just come to a close right there. No yellow flag as of yet, as we saw Melvin Brengruer also off the track. I don't know if Brengruer was just trying to avoid this contact or what may have happened here, as we'll take a look at the number. Where is he on the racetrack here? We're looking for that 54, Caleb Hunt. So Hunt and Keith Ayers side by side down through 3 and 4. We're going to see the 16 and the 54 just get tight together right here. They make some contact, and unfortunately for Caleb Hunt, it's just going to wash him up the track right here. Gets the car loose, washes him up the track into the fence, and then Gleason not expecting it, not expecting the car to be checked up or going that slow, and for Mr. Gleason, he's just going to drive in there, ends up running into the back end of the 54, and it pushes them both hard contact up and into the outside fence, and unfortunately for both drivers, as the lead pack goes by them, no yellow flag, no caution on the racetrack, as Gleason takes his car down pit side, looking to get this thing repaired, trying to get it fixed up and back into one good piece, and rolling back out on the speedway, but already going a lap down as the battle at the front of the field continues to heat up with no caution flag being thrown and only 15 laps left to go. It is still very much unlike Donkey Kong here this evening, as going Dark 420 says, well, if I'm gonna get punted 17 times in a race, might as well watch someone else night get screwed. I guess we wrecked the fastest guy to get a win tonight. Yeah, that's a tough one right there. Tough one right there. Obviously some tough contact, some tough issues, and unfortunately few drivers definitely on the wrong end of a good night here this evening, as Brian Underwood with the race lead trying to hang on to it here, trying to keep himself back there at bay, hoping to try to keep himself out of trouble here, and that hopefully can hold off some of these fast cats back behind him as Brandon Holder's continuing to race his way back up towards the front right here. They're trying to work their way around this high velocity racing 99 rider Sean Wilder for position number 2. George Jewell right there as well, trying to work his way into a top 3 run here this evening. Can Wilder hold on to second, though? As of right now, this is exactly what Brian Underwood kind of wants to see as the laps continue to get clicked down and we see them battling and duking it out for position number 2. It's allowing Underwood to open up a couple car length lead here, and that may just be what he needs to keep these guys back there at bay late in this race. As Sean Wilder still battling door to doors. Here comes another big run to the outside for that 31 rider Brandon Holder, and this time looks like Holder able to make that pass and steal position number 2 away from Sean Wilder. Now Wilder goes up to the outside lane. Here comes that 36 of George Jewell. Keith Ayers back there in that 5th position with Kevin Calkins, Melvin Brengruer, Farrell Robbins, our birthday boy Jordan Crider in position number 9, and Jonathan Gaston, first car 1 lap down out there on the racetrack, scored in the 10th position on the speedway. So being back in 10th, the first car 1 lap down, a caution flag could really save his day and help this beautiful number 72 earn a couple more positions late in the race if he could catch a caution flag right now. But as we continue to keep on rolling, the laps continue to get clicked off down across the line. It is 10 laps left to go, so 10 more laps left to duke it out as Brian Underwood holds on to the race lead. Brandon Brandon Holder, one of the newcomers through the series, rolling there in second, hoping that he can try to find the run to jump up here and try to steal this win away from our back-to-back champion here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League. As George Jewell looks like he's able to make that pass over Sean Wilder. Wilder slides back into position number 4 as George Jewell now into third here. He's hoping that maybe he can make a run for the race win here this evening. Keith Ayers back there in 5th after the contact between him and Caleb Hunt that sent Hunt down pit road and probably out of this race as, yeah, it looks like he has left this racing surface for Ben Gleason. Still down pit sign, so it looks like they'll come home in 17th and 18th. Scott Healy back in 19th. Josh Crider, unfortunately, back in 20th here this evening. But for Brian Underwood, looking for another big win and potentially stretching out his points lead or trying to help himself out here to some extra bonus points for our playoffs and really just trying to take a stranglehold over this season, trying to win 3 championships in a row here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League as the 6th ride down the back straightaway. Trying to break a little bit of that draft, trying to keep that 31 ride back there at bay as they head down through corner number 3. And out of corner number 4, back down across the line, it will be 7 laps left to go as 160 laps now completed here on the evening. Only 7 more laps left to duke it out here in this one. Will we stay clean and green? Will we go to NASCAR overtime here this evening? Could a late race caution flag completely change the outcome of this feature event? If one of these drivers back here, when we look back at a driver like Wilder, even Underwood, or potentially drivers like Farrell Robbins, Jordan Crider, if they've got an extra set of tires back there behind pit wall, we get a late race caution flag. Potentially it gives them an opportunity to come down pit side, throw that fresh set of tires on, and use it to their advantage to maybe jump up and steal this win away from our race leaders right now. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out as Underwood continues to hold them back there. He's continuing to keep this 31 at bay, and it may be tough here as Brandon Holder continues to get towards the back bumper of the 6th ride. It's one thing to catch Underwood. It's another thing to try to complete the pass. You really either have to wait for the car in front of you to make a mistake, or you got to find a big run. But as that run comes this late in the race, the 6th ride is not just going to move over and give you that lane. He's not going to give you that opportunity. He will slide up, he'll block you, he'll do what he needs to do to try to win this race. For the 6th ride of Underwood, he's not just going to move over, let the faster car go by. If this was lap 5, yeah, maybe he would let the 31 machine go by if he's the faster car. But as of right now, for the race win, Brian Underwood is going to give it everything he's got to try to keep these guys back there at bay. And now you do see Sean Wilder. Sean is able to work his way back around George Jewell, and as George Jewell slides back into 4th, the 99 ride starting to reel in this 31 of Brandon Holder once again. If Underwood can see the 99 ride, maybe make a move, try to battle again for 2nd this late in the race, it could really be what he needs to solidify himself as tonight's feature winner. As Brian Underwood down across the line, he will click off lap 164. It is 3 laps of racing action left to go here this evening with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, live here from Kentucky Speedway, as Underwood looking to get it done. Holder, Wilder, Jewell, all inside the top 4. They've got a sizable couple-second lead between themselves and our 5th place driver, Keith Ayers. Ayers has a bit of a gap back to our 6th place driver, Melvin Brengruer. That's where you see Kevin Calkins, the 76 of Farrell Robbins. You see Jordan Crider back there. Jordan Crider, unfortunately, back in position number 9. And Michael Ware, first car 1 lap down now, scored in the 10th position. But for Brian Underwood, only a couple more laps left to go, and it's exactly what he wanted to see. They are duking it out for 2nd, and he is opening up his race lead. This means taking away any opportunity for Brandon Holder to try and steal the win away from Brian Underwood here this evening. As Underwood down across the line, he will see that white flag fly. So one more time around here for Brian Underwood, as Underwood looking to capture tonight's checkered flag here in in Kentucky as Sean Wilder will try to reel him in. Unfortunately, 3/10, almost 4/10 of a second down the back straightaway. Their final shot down into corner number 3. All Underwood needs to do is keep this car under power, not make any mistakes as he rounds corner number 4, and for the final time, down the front straightaway and across the line, it is Brian Underwood who's able to pick up another checkered flag here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League as he will get it done and earn the win here tonight at Kentucky Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for these drivers and for our race winner, Brian Underwood. As Underwood captures tonight's checkered flag, picks up the win, and will pull this Turning Point USA Charlie Kirk Memorial ride back up and into victory lane here on the season, man. What a run, what a drive, and what a performance there for Mr. Brian Underwood here this evening, man. What an absolutely great performance out of this 6 machine. Bold strategy, not coming down pit road late in this race, able to have enough fuel in that car, able to get it done and hold these guys off as he gets to celebrate now here this evening, man. What a run, what a drive for him as, here you go, you get a good look here at that car, at that driver, as he gets to duke it out here in this one. Let's see if we can make that webcam a little bit bigger. There we go, get a good shot there at Underwood, celebrating the win here today as we'll get ready to pull him and the rest of our top 3 up and into the broadcast booth for their post-race interviews, man. Post-race interviews coming up next. And for these drivers, woo, baby, they're going to have some great things to say, man, as this was a lot of fun. This was a great race. Obviously, there was a bit of contact, a bit of rubbing and scrubbing out there, and unfortunately, some pretty solid issues for a few of our front runners. When you look at Scott Healy, you look at Ben Gleason, a couple of those guys running into some major issues throughout the race, and unfortunately sets them deep in this field and not having the runs that they were hoping for here this evening as we'll get ready to pull Brian up and into the booth. Hey, Brian, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. To get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Brian, man, you're able to do it again and put yourself back up here into victory lane early enough in this season as you're trying to extend, points lead, trying to earn all these extra bonus points after winning the stages as well. You put this 6 ride up and into the top position for the win here this evening at Kentucky, man. Take us back through it as it was not easy work out there. Obviously, some late race pitch strategy. You stay out on the racetrack, you keep that track position, and it's just enough to hold off Brandon Holder, the 99 ride of Sean Wilder, and that number 36 of George Jewell out there on the racetrack to be able to put the 6 ride back up and into victory lane, man. Take us back through it and what's going through your mind right now as you get to celebrate here on the front straightaway.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blast. A lot of side-by-side racing all race long. Just trying to keep the fenders on there and just kind of see what I could get in the stages. I wanted to save tires just in case for the final part. But I think we went almost green all the way through except for, one caution. So if that caution didn't come out, I felt good because I was good to go on fuel. I think the other ones might have been a little bit short and had to save. But, I mean, all those guys had a lot of speed between, Brandon, he had a lot of speed. He seemed to be the guy there. After stage 2 or in the middle of stage 2, he was up there. And then Scott Healy was up there, the 99. There's a lot of speed. Gleason was up there. I don't know what happened with Tim. But, yeah, I mean, there's so many people with good speed. Brookover, he qualified on the pole there. So it was like good improvement from him so far this season. Basically, just overall, it was fun. Just another night out with the boys, and yeah.
Absolutely, man. Having fun, having a good time, and enjoying another good night of fun here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. And it's much more fun when you're able to find victory lane out there on the racetrack. But take us back through those closing laps. Obviously, you see that 31 Brian, who you said, was fast all night long. And here he is storming back up throughout the top 10. He finally makes the pass around Sean Wilder, and he starts to reel in your back bumper. And he's got some time to try to, move the other way or try to find a way to get around around you. Unfortunately there for him, he just could not seem to find enough speed to get a run, to get to your inside or to your outside. And all of a sudden, with a few laps left to go, you see Wilder storm back up there, start to battle again for second, and that just kind of solidified it as your race to really lose here this evening, as it kind of took that pressure off your back bumper for the final few laps.
Yeah, I thought Brandon had it. I think they came down and got tires, and just that little bit helped a lot. I thought once he got to me, he was to be able to get around me, especially in 3 and 4. He seemed to be really good in 3 and 4. But I was just playing the air, just trying to give him the dirtiest air possible going into 1 and 2, and that seemed to help. For those closing laps, as long as I had a good 1 and 2, and I would nerf his 3 and 4, which worked most of the time there. And then once they got side by side, it's hard to come back from that because it just slows you down with side drafts. So I was just fortunate to just be in the lead. I think clean air played a little bit in the factor. I don't think I was the fastest guy. Like I said, I think 31 is faster. Healy was faster on the longer runs than I was, and maybe Gleason there. So I was just make sure I didn't mess up and hit the wall and ruin it.
Absolutely. Well, it plays out perfectly for you, and you're able to find yourself back up here into victory lane. Brian, who would you like to thank again for another strong run, great performance, and another checkered flag here in your outstanding Premium Stock Car Racing League career here this evening?
Yeah, I gotta thank you for putting on the show. You do a great job each week, and all the drivers that showed up. The competition's been really fun the last couple weeks, and green flag runs have been amazing. So that's credit to everybody that's been running. And then gotta thank obviously the other 2 admins for helping keep this thing going, adapt to what we had to overcome, which in the end I think it's worked out just right. And gotta thank Nathan. He kept my ear full this whole race and kept me on my toes because he was fast all week. So hopefully I can work with him on pit road and get him a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to work together, trying to get your teammates up here into victory lane. Hopefully next Saturday we can see, maybe Wyatt and them come back as well. And Mr. Haller, maybe get them out onto the racetrack to help the team out, getting some more wins, some more points out there on the Speedway.
Yeah, I think the other 2 are done. So it's just me and Brookover.
All right, well, hey, 2-car tandem. We'll have to wait and see if you guys can figure it out and see if you can get Brookover. I thought he was going to have a good shot at it here tonight, man. Winning that pole position. Looked like he really had this track figured out. And then, yeah, those pit road mistakes costing him a good run here this evening. So hopefully he can clean those up, and hopefully we can see him maybe up here into the booth next Saturday night. And maybe with you either right in front of him or right behind him, pushing him into victory lane.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, Brian. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and don't party too hard down there in the Kentucky Speedway victory lane here this evening.
I'm getting back in Indiana. Hell with this track.
Absolutely, brother. Well, enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, you too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Brian Underwood. Is Underwood able to pick up the win here this evening, man? What a run and what a drive there for that number 6 machine. As we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, the 99, Sean Wilder, comes home in position number 2. Let's get Sean up here into the broadcast booth. Hey, Sean, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Hey, yeah, how you doing?
Not too bad, Sean. Hell of a run, hell of a drive here for you in this one. As you're able to come home in a solid second place run this evening. Take us back through it. What's going to go through your mind after a bit of an up and down day for pretty much everybody? Obviously, a lot of pitch strategy and everything else. And then late in this race, you elect to stay out. You had enough fuel. You had some pretty good tires there. You fall back a couple spots, but it seemed like it was more or less just a tire conservation there late in the race. So you were able to regain those final couple spots and back into second here to finish off tonight with a very solid run, man. Take us back through it. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, I knew from the get-go this is a tire-saving track pretty much. If we get long runs, I felt I had a chance to do well. If we had a bunch of short runs, I probably wasn't going to do well. I'm better on the longer runs and catching people when the tires wear out. It seemed like that's where I was, but I felt like I was saving maybe a little too much the first couple stints. Well, the first one was fuel saving. I just wanted to get to the end. I made it to the end of stage one, and I think I ended up in the top 5 somewhere there. And then second stage, I was kind of figuring things out. I had to the back a little bit and just was conserving those tires, like you're saying. And then I started catching people towards the end of the run. Then that last stint, I pushed it a little harder. I kind of let them guys get by me, and hopefully they were burning their stuff up. A couple of them were pretty fast, and I wasn't sure, where I was going to fall in line there. But yeah, I was able to catch a couple of them back up and ended up P2. So I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. A very solid running, very solid drive, and just battling there with those guys late in this race, knowing that if Underwood makes a mistake or runs out of fuel or anything like that in these closing laps, that it could have opened up the door for you to potentially steal this win away from that 6 machine here this evening. But when you're battling with these guys so tight together, so close, and the air is just either so much dirty air on your nose trying to start a pass, or you're sign drafting with each other, man, and it's slowing you down there. You chuck that up is the reason why you weren't able to try to catch that 6th ride of Underwood, or why we didn't see Brandon able to try and make that pass and start to battle door-to-door with Underwood late in this race.
Yeah, I was thinking about trying to go the high line and trying to go around the outside. But yeah, like you get right behind somebody, it's hard to suck up to them in the corners there. So like you were saying, so I was using the extreme low line in 3 and 4, but unfortunately that kind of kills your momentum a little bit. So I was hoping I can get at least beside them and then maybe kind of run them up the track a little bit, coming out of 4, but I wasn't able to dive it down in there. And yeah, there was a lot of dirty air. I saw a lot of guys hitting the wall out of 2 there. I think that was dirty air for sure. You get behind somebody in 1 and 2, and you kind of follow them up, and you just end up hitting the wall. So I was just trying to run different lines. I was kind of figuring out as I was going. I felt like by the end I had much better speed and a better idea of how I needed to run things. But yeah, it was a fun race though. I like those tire saving races and just try to see what you could do at the end and try to catch them back up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it works out very well for you here tonight as you park the 99 machine up here in position number 2 this evening at Kentucky Speedway. Sean, who would you like to thank for a great run and great performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, just thanks to the guys I was running around. Everybody was pretty, I had the one spin earlier. Guy apologized right away. That was George. He came in P3 and we just talked about it. And he apologized, said he should have let up. But other than that, everybody's running real good. The 19 car, me and him had a battle for I don't even know how many laps. And then Brian and then George and Brandon Holder, the 31 car at the end there too. He got on the wall a couple times, and I think that may have put some damage on that car to where he wasn't able to stay up there. But all them guys, it was fun. Everybody I raced around was real clean, and I appreciate that. And that's it.
Beauty. Well, Sean, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, man. We can't wait to see you back in action next Saturday, and maybe right back up here in the broadcast booth for another post-race interview, maybe one spot better, and finding yourself up and into victory lane next weekend, man. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and as I said, yeah, hopefully we'll see you right back up here next week.
All right, thank you. You have a good night.
You as well. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for the 99 rider, Sean Wilder. Sean comes home in position number 2 this evening, man. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for that number 99. As we get ready now to pull in our 3rd place driver, the number 36 run, it's George Jewell. Jewell comes home in position number 3 this evening. Let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, George, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. To get a copy?
Sure do.
George, man, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here this evening as you're able to park that beautiful 36 ride up and onto the podium here this evening, man. Take us back through it and what's going through your mind right now.
That was good, fun. Couple mistakes through the night and everything, but it was really good racing. It was clean. Constant battles all the time. It was really cool. It these guys are kind of fun to really run with.
Yeah, a lot of great competition, a lot of great battles out there, but none better or more stressful than late in this race. Obviously, just under 20 laps left to go, and we see you and Brandon Holder slicing and dice your way up through the field, and all of a sudden you find you guys, you find yourselves in a tight battle, a four-car pack up there with Underwood, Holder, the 36 of yourself, and the 99 right there of Sean Wilder, just all kind of glued together, stuck together there for those closing 15, 20 laps of racing action. And one mistake, one slip-up could have either cost you a good run or could have cost one of those other drivers a good finish here this evening as well.
That one was that was fun racing. That was like a chess match, and Dirty Air kind of did play a part of it. So everybody was shooting for different lanes to just try to get the air and everything. Hope they keep the nose down where you can power up off the corner. 1 and 2 was good, really good, but 3 and 4 you really kind of had to set it up a little bit if you were extremely behind somebody in there. If you pick the wrong point or gas up the wrong spot and everything, they get to run on the outside. So it was a chess match. So you were looking in the mirror and trying also to set up the guy in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of back and forth, a lot of good, hard, 2 wide, 3 wide, even sometimes 4 wide racing here throughout this race. And for the most part, you're able to keep yourself out of, major trouble or anything else. Obviously, Sean, he talked a little bit about the contact between you guys early in the race and how you apologized already there in the Discord to him. Obviously, no harm, no foul. Both of you guys end up still working your way up and onto the podium here this evening. Take us kind of through that and through some of the craziness that unfolded throughout this race.
Yeah, me and Sean and everything. I had runs, and my car seemed to be really good at that point, and I was pushing him through, and I thought he was going to go a little high, but I got greedy. I bumped him, and I didn't mean to, but I was glad that when he said that he didn't have to use a fast repair, and very happy that he got back up here and kind of put me in my place, So that's the way it works. So
Yeah, absolutely, definitely the way it works right there. Is he's able to rebound. Maybe it helped him out a little bit more. Maybe it gave him a little bit more of a purpose out there on the racetrack. Maybe running a little bit more pissed off may have helped drive him up here back into a solid second place run tonight. But for yourself, able to stick with it, pick up a solid third place performance, keeping a lot of fast cars still back there behind you, man. Who would you like to thank for a very good run and drive here this evening?
thank my family and friends. Save 22, GLR, Extreme Scoring. You up in the booth right there, Peacemaker Gaming 47X, and the league, Premier Stock Car Racing League, and everything. It is a really good time, and hope to keep it rolling next week. So.
Absolutely, brother, and we can't wait to see it back out there onto the racetrack, duking it out again and hoping to try to put this 36 ride back up into the, podium again, maybe even into victory lane next Saturday night. George, enjoy the rest of your weekend, enjoy the rest of your week, and we can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack.
And y'all be safe out there.
Absolutely, brother. Enjoy the rest of your night and give the crowd a wave.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place driver, Mr. George Jewell. George comes home in position number 2 here, number 3 here this evening. Heck of a run, heck of a drive there for our third place driver, as unfortunately that will do it for us here this evening. The racing action has concluded. Unfortunately, all the battling, all the duking it out, and all the back and forth out there on the Speedway has come to a close, and unfortunately that will do it for us here this evening. But thank you all for watching, thank you all for tuning in, everyone that came in with the likes, the comments, the shares, and if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button on the broadcast right now. Every single like, comment helps push the stream out to more people. Every single share helps get it out to more eyes in the sky as well, so that way we can get more people in here to watch and cheer on and enjoy the amazing racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming. And obviously, if you guys are just tuning in and you haven't already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button or hit that follow button. Become part of the Peacemaker family here today. Turn those bell notifications on. That way you never miss it when we go green flag racing here on Peacemaker Gaming. But thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. And we'll catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen.
Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no